Today we are going to unbox a 2008 Unibody 15-inch MacBook Pro. That is right, I got my hands on the original Unibody MacBook Pro. This is a 2008 2.4 gigahertz Core 2 Duo model. This was the original Unibody design that was launched in late 2008. And I'll explain some of the differences between the 2008 and the 2009 models that came afterwards. But first, let's get into this box and reveal what lurks inside. So as you can see, this machine has its original box, and I can tell this is the original box to this machine for a couple of reasons. There's a couple of clues. Number one, the picture on the back of the MacBook Pro shows it running OS X Leopard, which is what this machine would have shipped with when it was brand new. Also, the spec sticker on the top of the box right here, which I will do a close-up of right now, shows you the spec list, and this is indeed a 2.4 gigahertz Core 2 Duo. This is the base model of the 15-inch in 2008. This actually should have 4 gigabytes of RAM. It should have been upgraded from its original 2 gigabytes. I believe this machine has a 320 gig hard drive, so I think that's also been upgraded. And this also has the low end, lowest graphics configuration, which has the two NVIDIA graphics cards with the 256 megabytes of graphics memory on the GeForce 9600 MGT, which was the high-end graphics processor that shipped in the 15-inch MacBook Pro. So there's a little bit of tape right here that's holding this box closed. So we're just going to easily cut our way through the tape here. And we are going to open up this box and see what lurks inside. So I'll do it this way so you guys get to see what's first before I do here. And, ooh, look at that. So we have obviously the box here. We have the MacBook Pro itself here. And quick inspection. And it's actually in really nice shape for its age. And a lot of these often gets dented and scratched and whatnot, so obviously you can't see it, but there's the top. I don't really see any, well, there's a couple of scratches. There's a little scratch right there. I mean, it doesn't really come through. Probably you can't see it on the video, but there is a little bit of a scratch there. But all in all, I mean, this is in really nice shape for its age, just the exterior, so we'll take a little bit of a closer look at the machine in just a second. And then we obviously have the piece of plastic over the box, and we have the original MagSafe 85 watt MagSafe power adapter right here. This is obviously MagSafe 1 and not MagSafe 2 like my 2015 Retina MacBook Pro back here has. This is the original MagSafe adapter, and I don't believe there's anything else in here. There's no books, no manuals, which sucks a little bit, but hey, at least we've got the original box. So with that out of the way, let's take all of this and let's do a little bit of a guided tour of the machine. Condition-wise, it's in really nice shape. As I mentioned, there is a little bit of a light scratch right up here, but I mean, you know, these are very easily scratched, so that's not a big deal there. Otherwise, that's really the only bit of damage I really see on the exterior of the machine. So let's go over the ports here. There's some differences in the design of this model that is evident on later models that they got rid of. First of all, over here we have the MagSafe power. That's obviously where you plug the power cord into. We have built-in gigabit Ethernet. We have right here, we have FireWire 800. We have dual USB 2.0 ports. We have the mini display port. Notice where it's placed. The mini display port on the original MacBook Pro was placed here. Later models moved it right over here by the Ethernet port. We also have audio in and out ports right here. And this is a funky little thing right here. This is the Express Card 34 slot. Yes, the first Unibody MacBook Pros did not include the SD card slot. They actually carried over the PC card slot from the old MacBook Pro and stuck it over here. The front of the machine looks very similar. We have the IR sensor with the Apple remote, the invisible sleep light along with the magnetic latch. And over on this side, we have the slot load super drive along with the Kensington security lock. Now on the bottom of the machine is where it gets also very interesting. Notice something looks a little bit different on the bottom of this machine. Yes, there is a removable panel on the bottom. On the later versions of this machine, you had to undo 10 screws to take the panel, to take the bottom cover off. And you had to take the whole bottom cover off if you wanted to do a RAM upgrade or if you wanted to swap the hard drive. Well, on the original Unibody MacBook Pro, Apple decided to put a little lid right here on the bottom with a latch. You would lift this latch up and then voila, comes the lid. And this is the part you have full access to the battery and the hard drive. So we'll set that right here. The battery looks to be a third party, and the little tab just broke right off, but that's okay. This is a non-genuine third party replacement battery. Apple used to sell genuine batteries for these on the website up until probably 4 or 5 years ago. They stopped selling batteries for this model, but I'm going to look around and see if I can find a lightly used, or even better, a brand new genuine battery for this model. These cheapo generico batteries don't generally are kind of acceptable in some cases, but it's debatable. And then we obviously have our hard drive right here. And the cool thing about this, again, has the pull tab right there, and then you can just unscrew it from the hard drive carrier, and then you can just pop in a bigger hard drive or a SSD if you so do wish. So this is a whole different beast compared to the 2009 model, which the model after this was the 2009 that was released in March of 2009. So these models only ran, I think, like 5 or 6 months before they were updated. So like I said, the main differences between this and the 2009 and all the later revisions is obviously the bottom cover on the bottom panel on the cover to have quick access to the battery and the hard drive, and also that Express Card 34 slot, which was short-lived in this model. The 2009 version upgraded that to an SD card slot, which was, I think, a lot more useful to a lot more people. So on the inside, opening up the inside, I did have a sneak peek inside, so it looks very clean on the inside. Magnetic latch. Inside, it looks just like any other. Woo! The screen is a little bit loose. I will have to look at that. Maybe it's just tightening of a couple of screws. But on the inside here, we have a fairly clean keyboard and trackpad. This does have the backlit keyboard as well. This is a 15.4 inch. There we go, 15.4 inch widescreen LCD display, 1440 by 900 resolution. The only major difference on the inside here compared to the later models is the F3 and F4 keys on the keyboard. The F3 on this model brings up Expose, and F4 brings up Dashboard. Starting with the later 2011 models, the F3 key brings up Mission Control, and the F4 key brings up Launchpad. So those were the only major differences, but if you're running a modern version of macOS on one of these machines, these keys will obviously do the same thing. They will, the F3 key on here will bring up Mission Control, and F4, don't quote me on this, but I do think if I press the F4 key on here, it'll bring up Launchpad. I'm not 100% certain, but I guess we'll try that out once we boot the machine. It should have a copy of OS X Yosemite on it, I believe, but I do plan on upgrading this to possibly OS X to macOS Catalina using DOS-Dudo 1's patcher. So let's go ahead and get this plugged in, and we'll try it out for a first boot. And just like that, we come right up to an OS X Yosemite desktop. So obviously the machine obviously boots, and so there you go. So let's talk for a minute about why I bought this machine. Now there's 2 reasons why I bought it. One, just because. And the second reason I bought it is because I personally believe out of all of the Unibody MacBook Pros, we're not talking the Retina MacBook Pro, which is behind me. We're not talking about that generation. We're talking about this generation of MacBook Pro. I personally believe later on in the future, these 2008 machines are going to be the most collectible. And the reason for that is, as I just told you, these machines were only in production for a few months. They were only in production from October to March, I believe. And so that equates to around 5 months. These were in production before the 2009 models came out, which obviously, as I told you, did away with that bottom cover for the quick access to the battery and the hard drive, and went with the non-user replaceable battery and hard drive, and also got rid of the Express Card 34 slot in favor of the more popular SD card slot. So out of all of the Unibody MacBook Pros, I believe these are going to become the most collectible in the future because of that reason, because this is the original unibody design. And so the 2009 and later models obviously had a tweaked design, which is more familiar. But given the fact that these were only in production for several months, you know, I would not be a bit surprised if later on in the future, maybe 15, 20 years from now, maybe not even that, maybe in another 10 or 15 years, these are worth some big money, because just because of this is the original design before the design was tweaked. So my future plans with this machine, obviously, as I told you, I'm going to max out the RAM to a full 8 gigabytes, which is the maximum these machines can take. They cannot accept 16. The later models can accept 16. I believe I believe the 2010 models can accept 16, but don't quote me on that. I know the 2011 and 2012 models accept up to 16, but I'm not sure of the 2010s. But this model can only take on the motherboard 8 gigabytes of RAM. And I do have my Samsung 850 Pro 256 gig SSD that I might throw into here. That'll speed things up as well. And this machine can take a maximum of OS X High Sierra or Mac OS High Sierra, but we can actually get these things up to Catalina using DOS Dude 01's patcher, and and I know somebody who is actually has one of these, who is running Catalina, and he says that his 2008 Unibody MacBook Pro runs basically flawlessly on Catalina. So I'm going to give that a try at some point later on down the road. I'll fiddle with that, maybe this weekend, who knows. That'll be a weekend project, who knows. But this is my new 2008 Unibody MacBook Pro to add to the collection, of course, with the original box, as you see sitting right over here. But that's pretty much all I have for you in this video. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from the Techies world, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, when you hit that subscribe button, please turn on that bell to turn on notifications, so you will be first alerted to all new uploads when they are uploaded. Check out all those social media accounts. The link to those are in the video description down below. Follow them all if you'd like, or don't. I don't really care, but please do if you'd like to, and I will see you with the next tech video. Thank you for watching.